Hello everyone, Clown Bacon here, as I decided to be the biggest cheeky scrub in the entire world last week, as I wildcarded and didn't choose Lingard. I like it! That went well. But anyway, it's the Gameweek 32 preview. But first, the Gameweek 31 review, if we have to. Where the Gameweek average points were actually mudded, thankfully, not that high, at only 41 in the end. Easy, mate. Light work for a new wildcard team, right? Easy. As my team, the best team, my brand new wildcardio team, scored, 47 points. Oh dear. Not quite amazing for the first run out for the new boys, really, is it? Okay then. As my old overall rank at 88k in the world has actually gone down. Like, are you mad? Imagine wildcarding and your rank goes worse. Boy. As my new rank is now still in the top 100k, thankfully, at now 99,000th in the world. Oh boy. But as you'll see in a minute, literally all of the unluckies happened in my team. And you know what? I'm actually pretty okay with how it went in the end, really. And it doesn't quite look like we're getting first in the world, but we're definitely still go for it, lads. We're definitely still pushing to try and do as best as we can. Hey. So my team and the game's finished like this. Where for all of you cheeky scrubs out there that didn't see my deadline stream, this was actually my final wildcard team that I went for. Well, just let me go through how unlucky I was this week, and you'll see it almost couldn't get any worse. So in goals, I got the Chelsea lad, Mendy, who didn't keep a clean sheet against the poor Palace. As you know, the Lord Benteke is just the best striker in the entire world. But also, that was Palace's only shot of the entire game. And it was a goal, oh dear, to wipe out the clean sheet. But do you know what? I was actually going to keep a Martinez over a Mendy because I was like, you know, the save points he gets, he's so high-owned. He's probably still going to get more points with less clean sheets. But I was like, if I have a Mendy, then I can risk an Alonso anyway, so it's worth it, right? And Martinez ended up with more points. Alonso didn't even play, and I also didn't get a clean sheet from Mendy. Terrible. But then thankfully, we did actually get some points in here at the back. With the Sir Trent not leaving my wildcard at all, even though a lot of people were like, nah, I can't get Trent, he's too expensive, get him out. But he did in fact score a very nice goal and also scored 11 points for me. We were hey. And then a Connor Cody is here, who was actually benched, but thankfully did get subbed on for Diaz missing his only second game of the season, which is also not good because I chose Diaz to start every game and then he doesn't start the first game I have him. Okay then, but thankfully it actually got me points this week. And also thankfully Man City also didn't keep a clean sheet, so it wasn't too bad there anyway. And then Nat Phillips also had to come in because Alonso didn't fancy playing here. But I was also very close of getting a holding instead of a Phillips in here. And that would have been an 8-pointer holding coming in instead of the 2-point Phillips. There we are then. So 2 returns and 2 no-shows from the defensive backline in the first week of the wildcard. Exactly the kind of unpredictability of the players you want to have in your team, right? Yeah, I chose these players, eh? But then we move on to the midfield here with Bruno, who I decided to keep over a Salah or anyone else, and he blanks this week, and Salah gets a goal. Okay then. And then I put a Raheem Sterling in here as a very, very cheeky 1-week captaincy punt, which actually looks like the most wibbly-wobbly decision ever, doesn't it? As I was like, he's going to be the most nailed on, one of the most attacking players for this Man City team that are on an incredible run, and surely they can score quite a few goals against Leeds, right? Especially with them being at home. No, that didn't happen at all, did it? As even though he did start, and he did play the full 90, and he had quite a few shots in there, he ended up doing absolutely frick goal, which is actually even worse than it seems, because it's a captaincy blank for a player I don't even want. I'm going to get Son in for him anyway, and I would have just kept Son instead of him, and I would have got that Son goal. But then also, the extra money I need to get Sterling in, it actually meant downgrading other players, where here I've got a Neto instead of a Lingard, who I wanted instead. Where the Neto man not only just got 1 point, but is now injured for the rest of the season, and I need to get him out of the team. Meanwhile, Lingard is literally messy and scores even more goals than ever before and gets a brace in this game. Like, what is happening there? And all of that is just absolutely devastating news. The wibbly-wobbly bacon boy behaviour, as literally almost everything that could have gone wrong there, it happened. And, oh dear. And then to finish off off the midfield, we have the Dio goal shotter, right? Who of course didn't score you in now that everyone's got him in. And then the bench for the Smith Rowe. It was like, he's a player who's playing. He's got good fixtures. He can come in if he needs to. He is also now injured and might not play as well. Okay. But then on to the attack, we have a Sir Harold Kane, who did get nothing this week, but we'll forgive him. He's going to get us all of the points later on, don't worry. But who we won't forgive is a Jamie Vardy here, who's definitely not having a party, as the only reason I have him in is because I didn't fancy any other striker apart from Lacazette, and the only reason I didn't get Lacazette is because he played midweek. Aubameyang didn't start. I was like, Aubameyang's probably going to start this game. This Arsenal game against Sheffield United is probably the only reason I want Lacazette, and I was like, yeah, just go for it. But then as soon as he played midweek, I was like, nah, just go for the Vardy, go for the fixtures, the more nailed on player, isn't it? Vardy gets absolutely nothing, looks absolutely terrible right now. Lacazette goes and scores 2 goals and is cheaper as well. Oh dear. So as you can see, it's going great, thank you. But then thankfully, some joy and some light at the end of the tunnel here, as our final boy, Kelechi Iheanacho, was collecting all of the points here, with a nice brace and all of the opponent's points all at the end of the game as well, which is very, very exciting behaviour. So overall, lads, the wildcard review, you could say, is not a very good one. It didn't go very well, oh dear. Where we've got injuries, we got force moves, we've all of a sudden got players that don't actually look great now that I got on my wildcard. But can we actually complain, as we still managed to get 47 points, and this team still somehow outscored my previous team, my team before the wildcard, even though that contained players that all returned this week, with the likes of Watkins, Bamford, Soufal, Son, and all the rest of the other geezers that actually did something this week, but I still managed to score more points here. So it really is a what could have been case here, as I almost had a Lacazette, I almost had a Lingard, I almost had a Holding, I almost had a Martinez, and it is annoying when you get these decisions slightly wrong, but when so many of them happened all at 1 week just after wildcard, it is actually the biggest of the big boys. I like it! And that is all I have to say about that. But I'm not too worried. You never know. All of these geezers here could completely outscore the other ones this week, so no problemo. Don't judge it too quickly. And you never know. We could absolutely smash it this week. Let's go for it. So you know what, lads? Let's just move on to next week, shall we? In the Gameweek 32 preview, where transfers haven't quite been done yet, alright? But these are very, very likely to happen, okay? With a Raheem Sterling is again absolutely chucked in the bin, down in the dirt. I'm never getting him ever again. I'm literally going to social distance from him for the rest of my life. And then the injured Neto might as well go out as well. And those players are now becoming a Son and a Lingard, the ones I should have had last week, but I didn't. And taking a hit just after your wildcard doesn't seem like the best of ideas, right? Like, you clearly got some things wrong. And yeah, okay, I'll hold my hands up. I did get some things wrong, and that's okay. And I'm just going to try and fix those mistakes before it gets even worse, as I don't want my bottom to be spanked that hard, okay? I'll get them in, and then it's all good from now on. So this is now how the team is probably going to be looking for this week. But this week, it could actually be an absolutely wobbly one, right here. Where it actually lasts for 7 days. It's a week-long game week. There's FA Cup games during the game week, and all of them are after the deadline, so we don't even know who's going to be starting in those games. So it is just kind of all over the place. We don't know who's going to start. We don't know who's going to play. We don't know how everything's going to happen. Like, you could have a full amazing team, and then by the time they actually play, half your players are injured or missing or whatever. It's like, oh dear. So the bench right now does actually look pretty damn strong, doesn't it? With a Marcos Alonso. Yes, that's right. Marcos Alonso, one of the players I had in here to risk it all to go for, I'm actually deciding to bench just because Chelsea have 2 games before this game in the Premier League. And I do think it is likely for him to come on and rest other players rather than start. So I'm not too sure I want to risk it. So this is the team ready and set to go, but obviously still can change this week. So now let's give my best ever preview predictions of all the games, whilst chinwagging about the players I have in action as well. Where the first game sees Everton play Spursy. The first double-in-double game for the Spursy, taking on Ancelotti's men. Where last game, Spursy, bit wibbly-wobbly, weren't they? And Everton proper look like a beach mid-table team. Like, they don't like have any fight in them. And they even started 6 defenders in the last game. Like, what are they doing, lads? But I do think Mourinho can, in fact, get the win here. But I do think it's going to be close and not by much. So 1-0 is how the week is going to start here. Newcastle West Ham. Will Stevie Bruce Ball be able to keep Newcastle up right now? But after last week, they do look like they're in a comfortable position now and they can relax maybe a little bit. But West Ham right here, they're just hammering all of the goals in, aren't they? But also they are being absolute bubble blowers at the back and conceding all the goals as well. But Lingardinho is actually the best player in the world. It's not even a joke anymore. It's not a meme. What is happening? He's going to keep doing it, so he has to be in my team. And he's going to lead the Hammers to another win here. 2-1 is what I'm going for. Wolves, Sheffield United. Wibbly Wolves versus the relegated Blades, where I would have been hoping for an absolute spanking here by Neto and co, wouldn't I? But with Neto now being a not-o as he's out and injured and not in my team anymore, I don't really care anymore. I'm like, But I do still think Wolves will make it easy work here. Also securing that clean sheet for the Cody as well. 2-0 to them it will be. Arsenal, Fulham. With this one, will be an interesting one, won't it? Ooh. With Arsenal having Europa League in midweek, you know, and will they get through? Not too sure. But also, they did seem to rest quite a lot of their players against the Sheffield United. So will that be the case if they do get through? Or if they don't get through, will they just all be lacking confidence and not play that well either? It's a bit of an in-between one, isn't it? So it's pretty much impossible to predict. Unless you're Bacon Boy right here, and 2-1 to Arsenal it will be. Man United, Burnley. A Burnley team potentially without their best keeper in the world, Nick Pope, and also being absolute whack at the back lately anyway, conceding all of the chances, all of the goals. And they're playing against a Man United team who potentially could be going in with a lot of confidence after qualifying for the next round of the Europa League, and also looking to secure that top 2 spot with a nice easy win here. So I reckon Bruno will be pulling on the strings here and orchestrating the best ever win, with the game finishing 3-1 to them. Leeds Liverpool. A Leeds team seemingly playing without the pressure they usually have. And you know, it feels like they can be a bit more expressive and just chillax a bit more. And they're playing against a Liverpool team potentially out of the Champions League by the time this game's happening. And also kind of out of favour for the top 4. They're going to have to really work to get there now. So this one could generally flip-flop like mad. No chance of guessing this one either, unless you're Bacon Boy right here. So I am going to go for a 2-1 win to the Liverpool. You can tell I'm not biased because I want a clean sheet, but, you know, 2-1 it will be. Chelsea, Brighton, the battle of the boys in blue. The possession whores versus each other. Where Chelsea will have a Champions League game and an FA Cup game before this game. So we have absolutely no clue who's even going to start the next game. Never mind the next game, and the next game, and the next game. So that is kind of why I don't want to risk Alonso, but also that is kind of why I'm not too confident in Chelsea here. Like, are they going to try and win the FA Cup and the Champions League over getting a position in the league? Are they going to try and balance it all? I'm not too sure. But what I will say here is I do actually think it's going to be quite a close game. And with a lot of games and a lot of rotation, I'm actually going to go for a 0-0 draw. I know, right? How exciting am I? Spurs, Southampton. The Spursy boys are back. Hey, they're back in town. Back for their second game of the double right here. Oh yeah, did I even say double game week? Hey! But this one right here could be the one they go big. But then again, they have 2 games in this game week. Could they be a bit tired? But then also, they also have the Carabao Cup final the next weekend as well. So could they actually be resting some of their best players in this game ready for that final? But I do still think Kane and Son will definitely play in these games, so I definitely think that's all good there. And I do think they're just going to try and get business done really nice and early in this game to try and kill it off and then give some of their players a nice rest for the final. So a lovely 3-0 win to them here. Villa versus Man City. A Villa team kind of just plodding along, aren't they? They're just chilling, having a walk by the beach. The season's pretty much finished. They're not really fighting for anything. I doubt they're going to get Europe. They're just chilling. So right here, I do think the man of the cities will be a bit too powerful for them. As you know, sometimes when they lose a game, especially Pep, they look to absolutely destroy the next team in front of them. So I reckon they could do it here. So I'm going to go for a nice and easy 3-0 win to them here. And then to finish it all off, we have Leicester versus West Brom. Now this one is a bit of a tricky one, right? We have a Leicester team sometimes looking on it, right? But also they're trying to secure that top 4. They're trying to push to get some results, right? And then we have a basically relegated West Brom team that are actually looking very, very good right now, honestly. They look like they could score like 10 a game and their defence is actually pretty solid. Oh dear. But, I do still think the Foxes can just about get the win here in a nice and exciting 3-2 win to finish off the week. And that is it for the preview predictions for Gameweek 32, and that is how all the games will end with. Hey. So to confirm, with my team, a -4 hit will be happening a week after my wildcard. That is proper wibbly wobbly, unlucky. And that is a Lingard and a Son coming in for an injured Neto and a Sterling. And then the captain Dino is Kane, always has been, always will be. Don't try and risk it, don't try and be clever. Put it on Kane and just chillax, okay? That's all good. And that is it for the team and the preview. So basically, we are ready to absolutely smash it this week. Try and recoup after a bit of a wibbly wobbly start to the wildcard, innit? but it's all good now as we're actually going to get all of the points this week. Hey. So thanks for watching, and remember...
Don't be a cheeky scrub. Subscribe to Nathan Bacon right now. Don't let your memes be dreams.